In this video, let's address the drama in our life as we become more aware. So as we become more and more aware, as we have this awakening to awareness, we are now more and more aware. Because we're more and more aware, we start to see more, right? Awareness is like a seeing without your two eyes. So you start to see more drama in your life. This is the drama that has actually always been there, but it feels like you're just seeing it for the first time. You're just becoming aware of it. Oh my goodness. My mom and my dad are like this, or my brothers and my sisters are like this, or my wife or my husband is like this. And we start to see some toxic relationships. We start to see some more negativity. We start to see some more conflict and drama. And we're seeing this. At the same time, we're also seeing, we're developing the witness of the mind, that awareness of the mind. We're becoming better at watching the thoughts instead of getting entangled in the thoughts and identified with the thoughts and lost in the thoughts, so attached, where we can't see things because we're so close up to, as if this microphone is the thought. We can't really see, but the awareness is like a stepping back, and now you're seeing, and you can step back even more. And now you're seeing even more. You're seeing the big picture. The more aware you become, the more you start to see, and what you're seeing is the big picture. You're seeing the totality of it. And you're not being entertained by the same thoughts of your mind. You're not being entertained by the ego mind. You become less interested in it because you know that it just kind of sucks you in. And you lose yourself as awareness when you get sucked into the egoic thoughts, the conflict, the drama. So you lose yourself and you get entangled in it. And just like that's happening inwardly, I don't even know if that's the word. Just like that's happening on the inside, you're also seeing it on the outside. So what you'll find that some of these relationships that you've always had, you just start to become less interested in it. You start to become less interested in what they're talking about. It seems so superficial, or so, it's just consumerism or materialistic, or just something you're just not resonating with that anymore. And it's because of you're ascending. Your energies, you're becoming more and more empowered, and your energy is ascending to higher frequencies. And those higher frequencies, it's like they're not supporting those lower frequencies anymore. You become less interested in it. It's like as if you used to like rap music and then you switch to country music, but they're both played on two different radio channels. So now you're tuning into the country music instead of tuning into the rap music. So it's a different frequency. It's a different radio channel that you're tuned into. Whereas other people, they're tuned into the rap music still. And you just became less interested. You're kind of like, I used to listen to the rap music, but now I like this country music. So it's kind of like that. That you've attuned yourself to higher frequencies. That other people in your life, they're not on that frequency. Likewise, you're seeing the ego mind and how it tries to entertain you and distract you. And like I said in other videos, kind of like do all the party tricks and really seduce you to really steal your attention, to suck your attention in. And as long as you keep on falling for it, then as awareness, the attention is attending. It's getting contracted. It's closing off to just the activity of the mind, where you're getting lost, and you're not just, seeing what's real. You're not in reality anymore. You're lost in the dream. So as we become more and more aware of that going on in our mind, and the conflict and the drama and the stories of the ego and the mind, got to talk like it's an actual entity. In reality, it's not. It's not. It's not its own little thing. But let's keep it at this level. So it kind of feels like it's seducing you and immersing you and got a grip on you and luring you in. And when you start to see it, you become less interested in it. You don't give it attention, and you kind of create some distance and kind of stay back here, where it feels like you're enjoying your own happiness, your own peace, your own contentment, your own fulfillment for no reason. So you don't get drawn into it. That same thing is happening on the outside too. With your relationships, you start to see how, oh, well, your wife just loves to create drama. Your husband loves to create more conflict. Your girlfriend loves to play the victim. She was always about making you into the wrong person, just so you have to apologize, just so that she can play the victim, right? She's stuck in a state of disempowerment. You're now becoming empowered. You're becoming a master, where you're mastering your attention, you're mastering your focus, you're mastering your energy. You're not focusing on the drama. You're not giving the drama your attention. Whatever we give our attention grows. You're not growing that drama. You're not participating in the drama. You're not empowering your girlfriend or boyfriend to become more and more of a victim. And what's awareness? Awareness is more silent and still. So you'll find that silence and that stillness that you're developing inwardly, it is a word, inwardly, that same silence and stillness is now, it's like it's spreading out to your outer life, your relationships, where you start becoming more silent, more still, more grounded, where you find that now you've got this discipline where your friends are into the gossip, and you see right through it. I'm not going to participate in this. This gossip, this is toxic. This is negativity that I'm going to get drawn into, just like the negative thoughts. The negative thoughts inwardly, the negative thoughts get you drawn into it. And then when you get tangled in these negative thoughts, well, you feel negative. When you feel negative, you can't do anything positive. Right? So it's the same sort of thing. We start seeing this in our outer relationships. We start seeing that we don't want to be part of that drama and that conflict. Right? And that awareness, right? That awareness, it's love, it's unity. Right? So then we're not doing things that are causing harm to others. We act in a way that doesn't cause harm to others. And what you'll find is a lot of times when people are just caught up in their own stories, and they're into hurting themselves with their own mind because it's just unaware, that the best thing to do is to remain silent, remain still, and hold that presence where you're not getting sucked in to the unconsciousness, because they're very much in an unconscious state. And it's not like that unconscious state doesn't have any sort of force or gravitational pull. Just like you get sucked into the mind where you feel like, oh man, I lost it. I haven't been that aware today. I was only aware for 10 minutes at most. I lost it. Right? You're not losing it. It's what you are. But when you're giving your mind so much attention, it's like you fall back asleep into an unconscious state. Awareness is awakeness. But when you get caught up into the mind and you go getting lost in thoughts, getting sucked into it, then it feels like you lose your consciousness. And that's exactly what's happening, is the consciousness levels are dropping. They're dropping. When we practice our meditation, when we practice with our transmissions together, then there's an upliftment, temporary upliftment, especially when you're practicing with the transmissions, is it's uplifting your level of consciousness. Your level of clarity starts increasing. That stillness starts increasing. The silence starts increasing. It's very easy to see that distance and remain more as that awareness. Whereas then maybe by yourself or a few days after the transmission, you start feeling like it's kind of coming down and you'll feel like you're getting lost again in those relationship dramas, the relationship conflicts, the unconsciousness, the negativity, and it starts feeling like it starts pulling you in again. Or then you kind of feels like you're kind of falling in and out of sleep. Or you're awake, and then you go back to sleep. You're awake, oh yeah, I'm aware, and then you go back to sleep. You're awake, and then you go back to sleep. You're kind of nodding off and on. It feels like that. So it's just a matter of seeing it, because whatever's in the mind, right? The mind, basically your outer reality is a projection of the mind. And what you see in terms of society and culture, it's like a collective ego. It's pretty neat actually when you just start observing society and you start observing your relationship or your kids or your wife or your husband or your community, whatever it is, or your work. When you start to observe it, then you start recognizing that those same patterns are actually in your mind. And vice versa, when you start actually watching your mind and developing that strong witness of the mind, that awareness of the mind, then you start seeing, it's like you start connecting the dots. You're like, oh, yeah, those patterns in my mind, that's kind of like society. And society is a lot like my mind. So it becomes more obvious now that as you become less interested in your own mind, you're becoming less interested in society in some ways. The really unconscious part of society, the really negative part of society, the really egoic part of society. I'm not that interested in status and fame and all this material pleasures. Because then there's also this recognition that all those things, just like all the patterns in your mind, all the thoughts, all the desires, all those things are coming and going. They're all temporary, but there's something that does not come and go. And that's awareness. That's the ultimate reality. That's what you are. You're the permanent that's not coming and going. So then there feels like there's almost this shift in what to value. Like you're not valuing, you're not interested in all the things that are coming and going, all the things that are temporary. You start to see the true value of something that's timeless. Everything is bound by time. Buy a new car, starts rusting. Buy a new house, it starts breaking. Get a new girlfriend, no relationships last forever. Right? But what you are is timeless. So there's more of an appreciation. It seems like there's almost like a receding back to that, where you're just bathing in your own timeless nature. That's just happiness, contentment, fulfillment. So it's not like you're going out into the world to get something to fulfill you. It's like you It's like an analogy, like you've got treasure all in your house. You're rich, but you've had your eyes closed almost your entire life up until this point. You've had a blindfold on. And just out of patterns, you're just kind of going out stressing about how you got to make so much money. And then someone that doesn't have the blindfold kind of follows you home and notices that you're just sitting on treasure. You got treasure all over your home. You're sitting on gold. And your buddy's kind of like, why are you going out to work every day to try and stress about being fulfilled and get money when you're rich? You're rich. You got enough treasure here for 50 lifetimes, but you don't know it. It's the same sort of thing. You have this just abiding as awareness. There's this fulfillment, this contentment for no reason. The other type of when people are trying to get fulfilled from worldly pleasures and setting goals and all these different things, it's temporary. It's transient. It's coming and going. It always feels like it's slipping away from your fingers. But if you can just sit and be still, I mean, you don't, at the start, you're going to have to practice sitting and being still and silent, but after it's just automatic. There's just this fulfillment it's like what's welling up inside you. And it just doesn't, it's infinite. It never stops. And there's no cause for it. It's not saying like, I have to make 300K this year, set my financial goals for my job, and then I'm going to feel the fulfillment. And then I'm going to feel the happiness. See, that's a conditional happiness, which is not really happiness. It's like this, it's more of like a satisfaction of just accomplishing a goal. And once you accomplish the goal and you put the check mark or you cross it off your list, that's about it. Then you're kind of like, whoa, I lost it. I felt happy as I was striking through my to-do list. But now I want it again, right? It becomes a chase, right? The pursuit of happiness. But as long as we're pursuing happiness outwardly, you'll never find it. It's a dead end. It's a trap. It's like a mirage. It's like a mirage. You're always chasing it. The water, it's so close, right? Like when you're in a desert, as soon as you get closer, it's just a little further. You just need another house. You need a boat. You need a couple more properties. You need a better looking wife. You need 3 kids. Right? It's always this striving for more. Because really what you're striving for, it's that striving energy. It's more, right? It's more. It's never going to be satisfied until you realize that you're everything. It's that finite self, the limited self that wants to be limitless. Reality, you're already limitless. You just need to realize that the limitness and remain as that limitless nature. Right? It's never going to be satisfied, that seeking type of energy. It's never going to be satisfied until it has that everlasting happiness. That's why some of those things, when we're trying to get a raise or get so much money or get a girlfriend or whatever that is, it's always like at the very end, it's always, and then I'll be happy. And then I'll be happy. But what you're after is that happiness that doesn't leave. It's this unconditional happiness, a happiness for no reason. That's what unconditional, right? Those other things it's a condition. When I get the girl, then I'll be happy. That's a condition. When I make $300K a year, then I'll be happy. The condition is usually put on it's when and if. When I do this, when this happens, then I'll be happy. I'll be happy if, and then put your condition. That's a condition that you're putting on happiness. Whereas remaining as that awareness and having that self-mastery, you start to basically start feeling like, yeah, I'm like happy for no reason. You start to see all the striving activity, the overactivity of society. They're striving for happiness. Everyone is. It's just like 99.9% of people are chasing happiness in the wrong direction. It's not out there. It's in here. So the more you actually turn your attention inwardly, it's like, bang, you found it. Ah, I had it the entire time. It was in me, right? Just like that analogy. Hey, instead of going to work, trying to make money, just open your eyes. It's right here. How did I get all this treasure? I don't know. It's right here. Right? It's very similar. It's very similar. So kind of getting off topic here because we meant to talk about just drama with the relationships. But as you start seeing it, it's again, that kind of happens where you start to basically take your attention off of the drama. You start to be less interested. You don't entertain those negative conversations. You learn how to basically detach from that stuff. It's like you can still participate in some of this stuff, but it's like you're not so invested in it. Whereas before you're really invested in it. And then you become more of a really powerful presence to others in your family and your relationships, where when you can hold, this is the mastery part, where you can hold your presence. That presence, you'll start seeing that it actually starts transforming the situations, that they become more present. They become more alive. They can start seeing a little bit more. They don't get so caught up in the negativity as much. They don't get caught up in so unconscious. It's like it's starting to wake them up where they're starting to see it. Right? So that's how important it is to really to practice or train or master holding that presence. Right? Holding that presence, just being present and not allowing yourself to slip into the thoughts of the mind, which are always about the future and always about the past. Worrying about the future and sadness in the past and creating all this drama and conflict and splitting, fragmentation. Once you start seeing it all, then you're not giving it so much attention. You're not getting lured in, sucked in, immersed into it. And then you'll find that that's happening inwardly with your own mind. And you're also seeing that practice is going to help practice with the outer world, you could say. So that's a practice, like I said, with a lot of these practices that no one needs to know you're doing it. It's not something that you say, oh, let me practice this for 5 minutes today. It's like a way of life. This is just, it's becoming a master at this. Treat it as a game. For my entire life, I thought just everyone was doing it. I just thought that this is what everyone's doing it. Like I said, you have no idea if someone else is doing it. You put 3 people in a room, you have no idea who's practicing presence, who's practicing non-attachment, who's practicing not entertaining their own mind. As you get really good, you can start seeing it, because you'll start noticing how You just feel better around other people whose presence is through the roof. You can feel their presence. You can feel their presence. As you can tell, depending on how connected you are with me, you can feel my presence through the video. You become present and just allow yourself to stay open. You'll start feeling like you are becoming more present. And that's the practice. That's that mastery, is practicing holding that presence. Because you're also, not only are you benefiting, but the whole, the collective, the whole, humanity is benefiting by you raising your awareness, by you raising your presence, by you empowering yourself. The whole is benefiting. Because on that level of awareness, on that level of consciousness, we are one. There is only one.